Monsieur Chevalier's eyes twinkle behind his thick lenses as he taps a gnarled finger against the center of the vellum map. He leans over the table, his white hair catching a stray beam of light from the ivy-covered window.
The map does not tell you where to go, my dear. It tells you where the heart of the city was forced to beat when the walls were high and the gates were locked.
He traces a winding line that leads away from the dense clusters of the Marais toward the river.
If you want the soul of the present, you must go where the water meets the stone, the Pont Neuf. Not the bridge for tourists, but the hidden arches beneath, where the ghosts of the old city still trade in whispers.
Julian shifts beside you, his hand dropping from your back to catch your fingers, lacing them with his own. He looks at the map, then at you, a look of renewed inspiration crossing his features.
The hidden arches. I haven't been down there since my first year in the city. Chevalier is right. It's a different world entirely.
No noise, no markets, just the river and the echo of the past.
What do you say, Wyndra? Shall we trade the vibrant chaos of the market for the secrets beneath the stone?
It's a bit of a work, but I think the warrior in you will appreciate the tactical seclusion of the riverbanks.
You feel the weight of the rose in your belt and the warmth of Julian's hand. The shop feels small now, its dusty treasures unable to compete with the lure of the open city, and the man who seems determined to show you every facet of its diamond-cut heart. Julian leads you toward the creaking door of the antique shop, but before you step back out into the sun-drenched street, he pauses, pulling you gently closer so your shoulders touch. Monsieur Chevalier watches from his table, a silent witness to the lingering electricity between you. You turn toward Julian, the dim light of the antique shop catching the dark brown of your eyes. The proximity is intoxicating. The scent of old paper and beeswax from the shop fades, replaced by the warmth of the man standing just inches away. You let your voice drop to a low, intimate register, a stark contrast to the eccentric energy of Monsieur Chevalier.
I like the idea of secrets, especially if I'm sharing them only with you.
Julian's breath catches for a heartbeat. His hazel eyes search yours, finding the sincerity behind the warrior's poise. A look of profound, quiet joy settles over his features, and he squeezes your hand, his thumb tracing a slow, rhythmic circle over your knuckles.
Then the river it is. I promise you, Wyndra, some things in this city are meant for eyes that truly know how to see.
I'm glad mine aren't the only ones looking today.
Behind the counter, Monsieur Chevalier lets out a final, knowing chuckle as he begins to roll up the vellum map. The old man disappears into the shadows of his back room, leaving you and Julian alone in the narrow entryway. Julian pulls open the heavy door, and the transition is a sudden rush of warmth and light. You emerge from the cramped, dusty shop into the sprawling majesty of the morning. The walk toward the Seine is a blur of color, the pale limestone of the buildings, the green of the trees along the quay, and the shimmering blue-gray of the water ahead. As you reach the Pont Neuf, Julian doesn't lead you across the main thoroughfare. Instead, he guides you toward a narrow, almost hidden stone staircase that winds down toward the water's edge. The sound of the city above, the bells, the engines, the voices, begins to muffle, replaced by the rhythmic, heavy lapping of the Seine against the ancient foundations. Down here, the air is cooler, smelling of moss and wet stone. The massive arches of the bridge tower above you like the ribs of a cathedral.
Listen. Up there, it's the 21st century. Down here, it's whatever we want it to be.
Julian leads you into the deep shadow of the first great arch. The stone floor is smooth from centuries of rising tides. He stops and turns to you, the light reflecting off the water and dancing in ripples across his face. The seclusion is absolute. The world above has vanished, leaving only the two of you in the cool, echoing heart of the city. The cool, damp air of the riverbank swirls around you, but you find all the warmth you need as you close the distance between you and Julian. You step into the circle of his arms, your cerulean robes whispering against his charcoal overcoat. As you lean your head against his chest, the world above, the markets, the maps, the bustling Rue des Rosiers, simply ceases to exist. There is only the steady, grounding thrum of his heart beneath your ear, and the heavy, rhythmic pulse of the Seine just feet away. Julian exhales a long, shaky breath, his chin resting gently atop your head. His arms wrap around you with a firm, protective grace, pulling you flush against him. Down here, beneath the massive, moss-covered ribs of the Pont Neuf, the silence is a physical presence, broken only by the liquid music of the river.
It's so quiet. I can't even hear the bells anymore.
That's the secret, Wyndra. The river carries the noise away. It's just us, the stone, and the water. No one can find us here unless we want to be found.
He shifts slightly, his hand moving to stroke your hair, his touch careful not to disturb your high ponytail. The light reflecting off the water dances in shimmering, kinetic patterns across the underside of the stone arch, casting a pale, ethereal glow over both of you. You feel the tension that usually coils in your shoulders, the instinct of a warrior always ready for the next threat, finally dissolve completely into the cool shadow of the bridge.
I spent so many years looking at these arches from a distance, calculating their weight and their history.
She never thought I'd be standing under them, feeling like I finally found a place to stop looking.
Julian pulls back just enough to look down at you, his hazel eyes dark with an affection that feels as deep and enduring as the stone foundations surrounding you. He reaches down, his fingers gently brushing the petals of the crimson rose still tucked into your belt, before returning to cup your face. The intimacy of the moment is thick, heavy with the realization that the tactical assessment of the night has turned into something far more permanent. The ripples of light from the Seine dance across Julian's face, highlighting the sudden, sharp focus in his gaze. You remain anchored in his embrace, the cool dampness of the hidden riverbank forgotten in the heat radiating between you. You tilt your head back, meeting his hazel eyes with a steady, unblinking clarity that holds no room for the shadows of his past or the blueprints of his future.
Then stop looking, Julian. I'm right here.
A small, breathless sound escapes him, half laugh, half sigh of relief. The constant, restless energy of the architect, the man who always needs to see what lies around the next corner or beneath the next layer of stone, finally goes still. He leans down, his forehead coming to rest against yours, his breath warm against your skin.
You are. You really are. It's a terrifying thing, Wyndra, to realize the destination is better than the journey.
He closes his eyes, savoring the proximity, his hands sliding down from your face to rest firmly on your waist. For a long moment, the only sound is the heavy lap of the river against the bridge's massive stone feet. The warrior and the architect, two people defined by their vigilance and their vision, find a rare, shared moment of total presence.
I suppose my map is useless now. It doesn't have a legend for how to handle a woman who makes the rest of the world disappear.
He pulls back just a fraction, his eyes searching yours with a newfound, quiet intensity. The morning sun is higher now, sending a spear of brilliant gold through the gap between the arches, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air like tiny, golden sparks. Julian reaches for your hand, lacing his fingers with yours and bringing your knuckles to his lips for a lingering kiss. The intimacy of the hidden archway has forged a bond that feels sturdier than the ancient stone above you. He looks out toward the shimmering water, then back at you, a mischievous spark returning to his eyes. The suggestion of a destination doesn't interest you nearly as much as the man standing within arm's reach. You close the small gap between you, your fingers sliding from his chest to the nape of his neck, pulling him down with a sudden, decisive hunger. The kiss is no longer the tentative, sweet exploration of the morning. It is a fierce reclamation of the fire that sparked between you in the Marais courtyard. Julian meets your intensity instantly, a low groan vibrating in his throat as his arms lock around your waist, lifting you slightly off the damp stone until you are pressed flush against the charcoal wool of his coat. Beneath the massive, indifferent weight of the Pont Neuf, the world is reduced to the taste of him and the rhythmic, splashing chorus of the Seine.
Let the city have its maps and its history. Right now, this is the only truth I care about.
Julian pulls back just an inch, his eyes dark and dilated, his chest heaving against yours. He looks at you with a raw, unvarnished desire that makes the warrior's grace. You feel like a thin, unnecessary barrier.
Wyndra, you have no idea what you do to a man who spent his life looking for beauty in stone and glass.
He captures your lips again, his hands moving with a new urgency, tracing the curve of your spine and the line of your shoulders, as if trying to memorize the geometry of you in the dark. The shadows of the archway shield you from the morning commuters crossing the bridge above, creating a private pocket of heat in the cool, river-scented air.
I think I'm done being a guide. I just want to be yours.
The air between you is thick with the scent of the river and a rising, undeniable tension. Julian's hands linger at the hem of your cerulean robes, his gaze fixed on yours, waiting for the signal that will take you both beyond the public streets and back into the sanctuary of the private night you started. You don't offer words of retreat or domesticity. Instead, you reach out, your fingers curling into the lapels of Julian's charcoal coat, and use your momentum to drive him back. His back meets the massive, moss-slicked stone of the bridge's central pier with a dull thud, but he doesn't flinch. He lets out a sharp, ragged breath as you crowd into his space, pinning him against the ancient foundations of Paris.
The city can wait. The maps can wait. I want this.
You crash your lips against his, a kiss that is all heat and demand. Julian's response is immediate and visceral. His hands abandon their gentlemanly restraint, one tangling in your high ponytail to tilt your head back, while the other grips your waist with a strength that matches your own. The cool dampness of the stone behind him and the rhythmic splashing of the Seine create a sensory cage, locking the two of you in a world where only touch matters.
Wyndra, gods, you're magnificent.
He breaks the kiss just long enough to trail his lips down the column of your throat, his stubble grazing your skin. You feel the vibration of his voice against your pulse, a primal sound of surrender. The warrior's grace of your robes feels heavy, the silk sliding against his coat as you press closer, seeking the heat of his body in the cool shadow of the arch. Above you, the faint rumble of a passing carriage is a ghost of a world you've already left behind.
I promised you the heart of the city, but I think you've already taken mine.
Julian's hands slide down to your hips, pulling you even tighter against him as his kisses move back to your jawline, desperate and searching. The seclusion of the bridge is absolute, the morning sun unable to reach this deep into the stone's embrace. The air is thick with the scent of the river and the electric tension of two people who are tired of talking. You reach up, your palms framing Julian's face as you pull him back down to you. The world above, the clicking of heels on the bridge, the distant cries of gulls, the waking heartbeat of Paris, dissolves into a singular rhythmic pulse. You deepen the kiss, your tongue tracing the line of his lips with a deliberate, slow-burning fire that makes his breath hitch.
No more talking, Julian.
Julian lets out a low, guttural groan, his hands sliding from your waist to your back, pulling you so close that the silk of your robes feels like a second skin between you. The strength in your legs, usually so reliable and grounded in combat, begins to falter under the sheer weight of his hunger. You lean into him, letting the cold, ancient stone of the Pont Neuf support you both as your senses narrow down to the taste of coffee and heat.
I can't think when you look at me like that, let alone when you touch me.
He breaks the kiss to press his face into the crook of your neck, his breath hot against your skin. His hands are restless now, memorizing the curve of your hips through the cerulean fabric, his touch leaving trails of fire in the cool dampness of the riverbank. You feel the vibration of his heart against your chest, a frantic, heavy thud that mirrors your own.
The atelier is miles away, and I don't think I can wait that long to have you to myself.
Julian pulls back just enough to look at you, his hazel eyes dark with an intensity that borders on a plea. He looks at the warrior's grace you wear, his fingers hovering over the white leather belt that holds your sword and the crimson rose. The seclusion of the stone archway feels heavy and private, a sanctuary carved out of the very bones of the city.